How 1 second. All right. How to learn from losers. On May 10th, 1796, after the French forces had defeated the Austrian rearguard, Napoleon turned to one of his generals and said, "They haven't seen anything yet. What I have done up until now is nothing. In our time, no one has the slightest conception of what it means to be great. It is up to me to give them an example." Now, if you went through your social media timeline right now on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, even your text messages, would you find anybody talking anything like that? Probably not. But I guarantee you could probably find, if you went through those same feeds, someone saying something along the lines of, okay, we're back, I think. 1 second, let me put my glove on. Okay, and now we're back. All right, so most of us accomplish something relatively normal and take from that experience that, well then, heard it all, seen it all, or seen it all, heard it all, and then move from there. When in reality, this is the worst possible lesson you can learn from any type of success. Moreover, you learn a lot more from your failures than you do from your successes. When you fail, you know what you did wrong. Or if you don't know what you do wrong, you spend a ridiculous amount of time pondering over, what did I do wrong? How could I do better? When you succeed, you don't think at all about what you did wrong. You're just like, yeah, I won because I'm great and I'm supposed to win. And then you keep it moving, learning nothing from the experience. So let's say you wanted to be the #1 streaming artist in the world. Well, I mean, in a perfect world, you would just go to Google, look at who is the #1 streaming artist in the world. You would see it was Drake. You would give him a call and you would go, "Hey man, how you do that? How'd you do it?" And he would tell you. But chances are that's not possible. At least for us. So you don't know Drake and you wanted to be the #1 streaming artist in the world. So you're just like, oh, well, too bad. I don't know Drake, so couldn't do it. However, chances are you probably know the exact opposite of Drake. You probably know a very unsuccessful, struggling, starving artist. And you're probably thinking, well, there's nothing that can be learned from that person because they're an unsuccessful, starving artist. Wrong. Actually, that unsuccessful, starving artist is exactly who you should be talking to, because everything they're doing wrong, the exact opposite is the path to doing everything right. So how do we take this practically? All right. In 2005, I started playing poker. And the #1 player in the world at that time was basically the Drake of poker, would have been Phil Ivey. Now, in a perfect world, I would have just called Phil Ivey and say, "How do you play great? What do you do?" But that wasn't a possibility. I didn't know Phil Ivey. You know who I knew? Tumbo. And Tumbo could have been probably the worst player in the world. So I could just say, well, I'll never be good because I don't know Phil Ivey. I only know Tumbo. Or I could look at everything Tumbo's doing and analyze why is it that he's so terrible, and then do the opposite. So that's exactly what I did. I looked at I looked at the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why. And then I broke it down, who, tumble, what, well, the what was poker, the where, this was a home game, the when, this was usually late at night, and the why he played the way he played because he liked to gamble. And then I basically just did everything the opposite of what he did. Tumble always limped into the pot, meaning he never wanted to raise the stakes. So I did the exact opposite. I only played when I could raise. Tumble would always do the minimum basically. So that would be the example of someone who always shows up and just does what's required for them at work. Never does more, never does less. Uh, let's see what else. He wouldn't always blame the dealer for when things went wrong. It was never his fault. It was the dealer. So we I guess that would be just life. Just blaming fortune or whatever for the problem. And then just one by one, I looked at everything he was doing. And then I just did the opposite and started to do better. We got some geese flying around. Probably not going to do this in landscape mode again. Try to learn from losing. So that was my example. Since I didn't have Phil Ivey to tell me what to do right, I just had Tumble to tell me what not to do. And then over the course of time, we figured out how to do right. And you can do that with anything, basically. You look at anyone in life who you see is unsuccessful or, is losing, and you look at and analyze, well, why? Why are they not winning? And then you do the exact opposite. And that is how you learn from losings. That's how you learn from losers. And that's how you learn from losing in general. You don't just complain about it and say, oh, well, something bad happened to me. So I guess I'm just unlucky. That's kind of the wrong mentality. You want to take the perspective of something bad happened to me and I'm going to learn from it. And then I'm going to do better next time. So that's basically the message. This also makes encounters more exciting. Instead of normally when we hear someone complaining about life's woes, we kind of get irritated. It's like, that drunk at the bar, rambling again about his wife or, his car won't start or his kids or whatever. And we just get annoyed and kind of want to walk away. But we should actually perk up next time that person who is complaining about their misfortune starts rambling, and we should really just take stock. Who are they? What kind of person are they? Are they fitness fanatics? Probably not, right? Probably don't care too much about health and wellness. You know, what do they do? Is it something they enjoy? Is it something they love? Is it something they're passionate about? I'm guessing not. I'm guessing they're doing something that they hate and would prefer not to be doing. Where are they? Are they are they in a place where they've always wanted to be, where they find excitement and enjoyment, or are they somewhere where it's miserable, where nothing they want to do is available? When are they complaining? When are they saying it all went bad? What factors? When was this whole? When did it all go south? Basically, you're looking for that, and then you can interpret that lesson. Was it when they were just starting, or was it late in the game? You're looking at, like, when did it happen, and then if you ever move into that phase, you can kind of think to yourself, like, this is a trouble point. This is where that drunk at the bar started saying that everything turned bad. When was it? When he had kids? Was it when he got his new job? Was it when he got laid off? When? Was it when his parents died? And finally, the why. Why is he at this bar right now? Is it because he just likes to drink? Or is he looking for, some type of someone to listen? Because it sounds like, sometimes that could just be like, what he really could need is a therapist instead of, an irritated bartender. So in any event, this changes the whole experience from something terrible, this annoying person who, won't shut up and let me enjoy, whatever I'm there to do, to all of a sudden a learning experience. You just basically, for free, had this person's entire life experience out there for you to learn from. And now you know everything they did wrong just from listening. So and this is how you learn from losers. And you can take that in anything. A coach who loses the game is complaining. You just examine the who, the what, where, when, why of how everything went wrong for them. And then you do the exact opposite in your life. Most of the time, you don't even have to seek these people out. They're kind of just everywhere, because most of the people in the world aren't Drake. They're the person at the bar. You're much more likely to find Tumbo than you are to find Phil Ivey. So you could kind of just complain that, oh, my entire life, I never knew what to do because the only people who were there to give me advice were Tumbos. Or you could kind of take it as not a bad thing. You can flip it and say, well, instead of having, one Drake or one Phil Ivey to teach me, I had, 100 Tumbos. I had 100, of those drunks at the bar. And I learned from all of them, who they were, what they were doing, when they were doing it, where they were doing it, why they were doing it. And then I took everything they were doing and I did the opposite. And then I succeeded, learned from losing. So by the way, that story of Napoleon, after the Battle of Lodi, proceeded with you know, a brilliant military career. But then eventually he runs into the Duke of Wellington at Waterloo. Duke of Wellington has studied all his military battles, most of which were losses on the side of the people, most of which were losses on by the people who he was rooting for. He learned from all those and then defeated them at the Battle of Waterloo. You know, the Duke of Wellington wasn't able to call up Napoleon and go, "Hey man, how do I beat you?" Nah, he had to look at all the people who had lost to Napoleon, and then he used that to figure out how to defeat him. So that's basically what you do with life, with anything. If you don't know the actual winners, if you are unable to get in contact with them, and they can't tell you, oh, do this, do that, then instead what you do is you turn to the losers, who are usually more than happy to tell you why, who they are, what they do, when they do it, where they do it, why they do it, and how it all went wrong. They are usually more than happy. If you try to call Drake, he doesn't have time for that. But if you talk to that starving artist, that unsuccessful starving artist, I pretty sure they got time. They got time to talk. They'll let you know exactly where it all went wrong. They'll let you know exactly why things didn't go their way. And then you listen to their story and you analyze what exactly all the errors they made. And then you do the opposite. It's a relatively simple process, but simple is not the same thing as easy. Simple, not easy. So that is the lesson of today: how to learn from losers. When you meet somebody who you would normally find annoying, who you wouldn't want to listen to, who you wouldn't want to talk to, and just would normally just be turned off and would wish this person would go away, you flip it. You change the whole experience. You do a mental gymnastics in your head and you go, wow, I'm so lucky that I just ran into a Tumbo. I am going to hear this person's entire, I'm going to learn from all their mistakes. I'm going to see who they are, what they do, where they do it, when everything went wrong for them, and why. And then I will never make the same mistakes they made. Or at least I'll do better than they did. And that is how you learn from losers. Thanks for watching. Botsy out.